NERDSoul. Woo! Ha ha. Late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people? Today, all year, coming with another wonderful episode of, unfortunately, Talk Shop and Specials. I am joined by none other than the critical powerhouse, especially in the South, when it comes to podcasting, when it comes to distributing comics, especially indie black comics. I'd like to introduce to you the dynamic duo, Blerd-ish.
What up? That is a hell of an intro, and I had to look around like, is he talking about us?
Okay. Cool. I thought he was talking about us. I just thought it was better than I ever deserved. Like, thank you so much for that gracious intro, Mike.
You're far too kind.
Man. Well, thank you.
But it's all true, though.
You know, it's all true. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that I had y'all on the show I'm glad to have y'all on the show. Unfortunately, we have some saddening news, if you will. But today on the wire, I saw DC Comics was trending, and we got DC Fandom on the way. So I figured it had something to do with that, like maybe some kind of preview stuff or something that they put out or whatever. Unfortunately, it's being reported that DC Universe, DC comic staff see layoffs amid WarnerMedia restructure under Variety. And Clement Bryant and I on Doppio Dope a couple of days ago were just talking about there was going to be a WarnerMedia restructure, but we didn't know what that meant. And it seems like now we're starting to see exactly what that means. And when it comes to, whenever they say restructure, it's not a good look.
Oh no, it's never good. It's never good. In fact, I'll kick it off because before we jump on this call, me and Mark, actually, I literally just read the article that I saw about it because they're owned by AT&T now. I don't know how long AT&T own. They own Warner.
AT&T bought I want to say about 2 years ago, maybe.
So a lot of people, in fact, Mark knows I do this. Like I'm not the best, into corporate stuff, whatever. But sometimes you got to know who's the parent company and why they do things and what's going on.
Yeah.
And a lot of nerd groups, people just be spouting off nonsense and like, oh, why can't Marvel and DC combine into one company? I'm like, they already been combined into different companies. AT&T owns Warner, who owns HBO, owns DC, owns WarnerMedia. So that's a few things wrapped up in there. And if I don't get it exactly right, somebody correct me in the comments. But at the end of the day, DC, like people talk about DC, like I get it, it's their favorite comic book and all that. But DC ain't been DC since they've been, Warner, and then Warner is now AT&T. So that's a lot of major corporate hands telling you what to do. And the first telltale sign, like, I think, Mark, you have a DC Universe app, right? Or whatever it's called, or something, or people who have it.
I have the app, but I never subscribed because a little bird named Coop Keefer, he told me that I probably should not pay for it as it's not going to be around. It's going to go the way of the dinosaurs and the value jet. And Cool Keeper, let me tell you.
No, he didn't say value jet.
That is my source.
Because, simply put, once they said what HBO Max is, and I find out that, AT&T and Warner own, like, this is a few people. I didn't know who HBO was owned by. Then I found out. I was like, oh yeah, DC is going to go away. Like the DC app is going away immediately. And then once the whole Swamp Thing snafu happened, and then shout out to Andre the Black Nerd. He did a very in-depth thing about what was coming to HBO Max. All the good stuff on the DC app was going to HBO Max immediately, like the time of release.
Yep.
So this wasn't even a secret.
And like, what is it, Stargirl? They took Stargirl off of DC Universe, put that on CW. So yeah, there's been some definite movings that would sort of suggest that DC Universe is something that was either short-sighted or maybe something that one part of the company wanted and the other didn't. And then when AT&T came in, there was like, yeah, we getting rid of that Joker. But I want to say AT&T bought Time Warner. I want to say a year or two ago. I want to say 2 years ago, because I was at the AT&T event and at the Warner lot when they announced that they bought it. I want to say it was 2 years ago. But yeah, I was wondering what this would mean for AT&T and for Warner Brothers and for DC, because it's a lot of holdings. And at the time I was thinking, oh, well, DC will probably be all right, because the bottom line is DC still generates IP for AT&T or Warner or whoever to use. But it's not like they need any more. I mean, they don't have to have more IP. They have probably 3 of the most recognizable characters in the world in Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. You know, the Trinity. Now, outside of that, you know, of course, more characters can be made. But outside of that, they're going to be able to sell book bags, lunch boxes, toys from now until infinity.
And you said a key word. Like, they can sell all the items, but out of all the items in this company, and Lord, I'm not trying to knock on, you know, comic book nerds, I'm one myself, but guess what's dying? Print media. So books matter. Batman still sells like hotcakes or whatever.
Hotcakes and Batman go together. Yes,
Lord
sir.
have mercy.
Lord have mercy.
Okay, Mark. I mean, Mark knows how much it sells, but do every book for DC sells a lot? I mean,
no, indeed. They can't keep a good Teen Titans book going, or Legion of Superheroes. Can I get a witness? Amen.
Amen. But so if you know books and IPs are getting cut left and right, and they just pop up in other books. I mean, they make their money up somewhere else. They're gonna make them. Look, say what we want about the movies. A lot of them suck, but they do make money. They may not make, you know, the other company, you know, the mouse money, but they still make money. And then honestly, you're gonna need digital media. You're gonna need TV shows.
You know, they get money from merchandising because the designs are dope. Still, even if the movie is terrible, they ain't getting that mouse money. You know, things may turn around with the release of the Snyder Cut. I base that on entirely nothing but the fact that.
But you know how crazy that sounds though? AT&T, which is old money, bought Warner Brothers. Like, golly, like that's massive.
That's old money. That's the $20 bill buying the $10 bill. Like the president on the $20 bill buying the president on the $10 bill. Like,
so I'm old, father.
I'm older money than you.
Now,
I mean,
one thing I also wanted to add is that DC Collectibles is gone too. So, in an article from what is this?
Oh my!
What is it? Comics Beat. They say the end of DC Collectibles, if true, is also a huge telling. While I'm not going to run any more names until I have more concrete information, from everything I'm hearing, this is a huge, significant downsizing of DC's publishing operations that will have a huge ripple effect across the entire COVID-scarred comics industry landscape.
That is crazy, because DC Collectibles, I know they make great money because I know people, like I know enthusiasts who spend probably a couple grand a month buying statues.
Yeah, so
you know
they're cutting. Well, okay. I'll say this. Of course, we're in the industry. We hear things. Now, I guess now I can say it because it's happening. When AT&T bought Warner Brothers or bought Time Warner or whatever, I remember being like, "Oh man, I wonder what this will mean." And some sources close to it said DC is on the chopping block. like 2 years ago when I was at the AT&T tech event that they do in the summer. Can't think of the name of it right now. But they said DC is most likely on the chopping block. And I was like, nah, man, you can't get rid of DC. And they were like, no, they'll still own, they'll still own, they'll own Batman unless they want to sell that off too. But in this case, it looks like it looks like AT&T might not even want DC anymore. Like because
they may not need DC is the key.
Well, because they're saying like, yo, over a third of the employees from DC, whether it's DC, comics, universe, whatever, have been gutted. They're fired, gone. Yeah. And people are calling it a bloodbath. People on Twitter are like, yo, I can't believe this. And, it is COVID. It is a distressed asset, obviously. Now, of course, people are circling the waters wondering, could AT&T be looking to sell DC?
Excuse. Good cover, man. It's sadly a good time for them to be like, oh, COVID, so we can just cut bait.
Yeah,
it's time to cut expenses.
And so, it's crazy because
like you said, you heard this 2 years ago.
You think DC,
especially if they're gonna keep making these big budget movies and they're not making the money back, like they need to figure that out.
Well, I mean,
that's what makes Marvel such a valuable property. Like their movies, they're turning over like big profit. Like they're doing great.
They're making like 3-4 times their budget back. So,
right,
and here's the thing. Also, what a lot of people. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's just crazy looking at this because you're like, yo. You always, of course, because we are growing up in the time where things that we always thought would be around are leaving. Like, remember, you know what I'm saying? Tower Records, gone. And that just seemed like it would be always here. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like something that will always be around. They're coming for me, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I've been talking about DC. AT&T sending them for me. But anyway, go ahead.
People for you.
I'm sorry. I Uncle Ruckus you out. I called the authorities. Wow. I felt too much savaging of my company that I own no stock in.
Yeah,
that I own no stock in. Right.
I don't know who the A, T, or the other T are, but they're not you.
Right. None of them are marked up. Light Tyson is not in the building.
Wow.
But all I can know is what was easy to see with the app is that it's redundant. Once they announce HBO Max, it's a redundancy of services. And we all know corporations, if they can cut and they don't really need 2 streaming services when one has a better name and a better reputation. Actually, I read up why. I was like, okay, if AT&T owned this thing, and they own all these things, why did they name it HBO Max? And simply put, they didn't want to name it like Time Warner Max or HBO. Like they didn't want to name it associate a cable program or channel with Time Warner because they had such a bad rep in the cable game. So Warner was out the window. AT&T is kind of redundant because they do so much already in telecommunications. So they looked at the brands that people like, and they said HBO Max. And they already got, and people was like, making those jokes about HBO Go, this and that. Well, I'm here to tell you, I was bumming HBO through the HBO Go app off of a friend. It's gone, people. If you have HBO Go, check it. If you ain't checked it this week, check it right now and see if you still got HBO Go. It don't exist.
And
they are cut. Like,
and it looks like AT&T stock has been over the last week they've been hitting some bumps, but over the last week they've been up 0.5%. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's been taking L's this year, but it does seem like they've been kind of on the upward trend in general this week. This month they've even been semi-okay. I mean, they're not Apple stock, but I mean they're not dying. but there also may be things on the horizon that we have no idea about. You know what I'm saying? But I did want to also bring up, because this is something that I want to get out and talk about, which is folks online talking about this is happening because DC tried to get woke. This ain't got nothing to do. This ain't got nothing to do with
DC
nobody being woke. Yeah,
but DC ain't worried about getting woke. They just want us to keep
in fact,
hyper consuming. And I'm a DC guy.
What did we just talk about? If DC wanted to be woke, they have where's Static Shock at? Static Shock was doing these things.
Yep. Milestone. Anything from Milestone.
There's such a want for Static Shock. Where is it at? So DC, like people, and you, Mark. I mean, I'm about to get so mad. I'll call y'all both the same name. But the simple fact of the matter is, that's why I have not putting as much stock on some of our favorite, blurred and nerd groups. It's all about the money, folks. Say it out loud. A major corporation swallowed up another corporation, saw a need, a chance to cut people when it's the most opportune situation. And Mike heard this rumor 2 years ago, but they do it now in COVID, and they saw redundancy of services to save money and to be a cruel corporation. They picked the right media cycle and time to do it. Ain't got nothing with being woke. That's how you be woke, to know what the hell a corporation do and why they do it. Not because the books in DC that they can scrap at any damn moment got woke. And I put that in quotation marks.
Yeah, and I did want to echo the sentiments of, Joe Illidge, because Joe Illidge, one, he's dope. He's been in comics for a long time.
Shout out Joe Illidge.
Yeah, Joe Illidge is, he's just been sick for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And he was, because there's been some people that have been interested in like sort of dancing on the grave, I guess, of DC Comics. You know what I'm saying? There's been some people that have been kind of like, I'm glad they're gone. Maybe, Disney or Marvel could buy them. And, I mean, you never know, that might happen, but there's been people that have been, saying like Apple should buy it or something like that. And that's beyond the point. It's a situation where, over a third of people just got canned today, and they probably had kind of heads up. And Joe Illidge said, and big shout out to Joe Illidge, big fan of the show, you know what I'm saying, watches the show, listens, but said the only things we should be saying about events at DC Comics today involve compassion and empathy. These are perilous times in the national job market, and our industry is not immune. May everyone land on their feet and find a new path. Some jobs are jobs, some are a vocation. And that's very true. Like some jobs is just like, yo man, look, I'm just like, perfect example, like I used to mop the floor at the grocery store, at Food Line. That's a job. You know what I'm saying? But then, what I do as a graphic designer, as a filmographer, stuff like that, that's a vocation. That's creative. That's something that I'm doing to make something new.
Can I spit it another way?
Go, do you think?
Let's just keep it real. Like, right now, we can say what's a job, but you know what a job is? A way to pay your bills, keep a roof over your head, put food on the table. And you could be, person could be mopping the floors, but they might be the best goddamn mopper ever. And they doing what they do, and they doing something legal, and they doing something that they are good at and able to make a living at, if that's possible. But to lose a job that's more than just a vocation, that maybe might be your passion, that you might have put your soul into, that you might have, you felt like it was one of the most important days in your life, and you got that job, and it's been ripped from you. So yes, compassion is vastly needed right now.
Yeah,
trust me. Mike, you know how we was talking before we got on the phone. I ain't gonna go deeper than that. We ain't gonna go to that.
Definitely. Like I understand, because, and then looking at this, it's interesting because it's not just like the lowly grunt worker, like editor in chief, senior VP, VP of marketing, like VP of global publishing, like people that actually have sway and power are also losing their jobs. So this
People
is
who literally made
far-reaching.
choices in the stories.
Yeah.
People had effects. You know what I'm saying? Artists, like you said, editors, writers,
creatives, man, and it's
just gone.
It's tragic because these companies, man, the big companies, they're going to do what they can to save cash because they're going to take care of their CEOs.
Yeah, and the shareholders.
Financially, they're going to take care of those people, and those people are the priority. So, you have the people who, the creatives, ironically, the people who really make things happen at the ground level are the ones taking the L. So,
the people you see on NERDSoul show who talk about their love and their creation. Nobody ain't gonna be interviewing Joe Blow executive, stock market guy.
It'll be rare.
The accountant. Nobody's interviewing the accountant.
It'll be rare. I mean, there are places for that, but it's rare. Very rare. Exactly.
Look, I studied accounting. I know ain't nobody come to see me. They come to see. I'm not in accounting and the finance no more, but I know what makes the thing tick. But unfortunately, the guy with the red pen who just hacking you up, he get the orders, he gonna do it. Because if he don't do it, Mr. AT&T go hack him. And eventually he might get hacked anyway.
Yeah, and for instance, they said that Jim Lee is still there, still remains the chief creative officer, but he's not at DC. We don't know where he's gonna be. Or it might be a situation where he'll just be migrated over to I don't know, maybe HBO Max, because DC director's gone. DC Universe probably looks like it's probably gone. They probably gonna phase their joint out. That joint is probably gonna be gone soon.
Slowly phasing.
Man,
look, it didn't take them no time to get rid of. Teen Titans. HBO Max is on HBO Max. Stargirl, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Those were already mentioned. Those were mentioned so fast. I was like, wow. Because
I remember
HBO Max has all the brands.
Yeah, and I remember talking about talking about the HBO sort of debacle, because HBO, what I thought when they were talking about restructuring, Clement Bryant and I on Doppio Dope were talking about how the launch of HBO Max was kind of bungled. You know what I'm saying? They launched HBO Max. It wasn't available on Fire Stick. It wasn't available on Roku. People were mad about that. Then people that had Go and Now couldn't get on, all kinds of stuff. And I even asked those questions when they announced it. I was like, well, you now have 3 HBO services. Why not just say HBO Max is coming, which will consolidate the Go and Now customers, and it'll be just one big service instead of trying to juggle 2. But like you said, it seems like they're about to start dropping that without, I guess, a press release or anything.
HBO Go is pretty much, I'm telling you, I clicked on my Roku and my PlayStation. They was like, HBO Go no longer exists. If you want to go to HBO, go here and such and such. I was like, what? So
see,
if you had regular HBO
operate, you know what I'm saying? It's being handled horribly. And then when you have something like DC Universe,
that should have been a release.
Yeah, when you have something like DC Universe, what you should have done is just roll that into HBO Max, or done a situation where you have Disney Plus and then Hulu. You know what I'm saying? And the stuff that's on Hulu is not on Disney Plus and vice versa. And you can get them in a package if you want, but there's a distinct difference. And the basic difference is Hulu has stuff that is adult and Disney does not. That's the biggest difference.
Well, here's the thing. HBO or Warner, I guess I like to say Warner, because I know it's AT&T, but I guess Warner don't really care about separation like that, and they always like to be a little edgier anyway. So they just simply like, hey, the products are here. And I actually kind of appreciate that it's one and not like Hulu, because I really don't have a need for Hulu separately. I really don't have a need for Disney Plus, because I only got it free. I don't really see myself keeping it, because Netflix been killing the game as far as the content, and I bummed VRV off somebody, so I'm good. So I mean, I got Crunchyroll, which guess what? Crunchyroll is also, I didn't know Crunchyroll was owned by Warner either.
Yeah.
So they own, Cartoon Network, VRV, Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll makes VRV, which is actually a better anime product than just Crunchyroll itself. You can get a lot of different ways to catch something. So I hope that it don't mess with VRV. Then I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be really pissed off. And even though I'm not paying for it, I want to continue to bum a superior product of my friends. But it's just like, I know, ain't that sad? I'm not even paying for it, and I'm getting mad if they take away my free product.
I have complaints about this product of yours that I am obtaining illegally, and I wanted to get the bottom of this.
Not illegally. My friend let me use it. I have the passcode.
He's a beggar and a chooser up in this joint.
Hey man, I'm a bum with standards.
I'm gonna be fresh as hell if the feds is watching. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll be fresh as hell if the feds watching. But shout out Titty Boy,
Wu-Tang. It can still be things being cut, and that could affect Cartoon Network down the line. And we know how wild their restructuring was when they first did it, when they kind of got away from, the action stories, and kind of now everything looks the same way. Shout out to the people who like the new Thundercats. I don't know why, but whatever. I know they try to make that a thing, but even though I do love Craig of the Creek, but who knows what this might have fallout. Like it's sad that like you say today, we need to show compassion, beyond just our fandoms for the people who lost their jobs, but ultimately it can be more. It can be more people. Like you say, DC might just roll up and be like a division of AT&T, just what they just call it, comic book division of AT&T, and that's it.
Yeah, because this doesn't bode well. And then even in one of the articles, they said that the source said, similar to kind of what I heard is, once the merger happened, DC was done. And it kind of goes to what I heard, of course, as DC being on the chopping block. But I figured, nah, man, it's like, they got movies and stuff, but you got these bloated budgets. Then comics aren't selling like they used to. You know what I'm saying? It's not the height of the 90s. But you have other ways, where even like the whole Swamp Thing debacle, you have other ways to save stuff without just completely canceling it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking about Swamp Thing just the other day. I was like, they could have did a season 2, just like BBC, where season 2 is 3 episodes. And if it was too expensive, just lower the number of episodes. You ain't gotta have 10 or however many season 1 was. You know what I'm saying? Just have like 3 episodes in season 2.
I'm sure Netflix, just even saying how Netflix, I'm sure they were missing some of the Marvel and DC content. Marvel and Disney content. But, and I think what Netflix wanted to drop their costs with Marvel, and Marvel didn't want to comply. But look at Netflix. They getting dope content, trying out new things, trying out more diverse content, and putting the word out there. So it's like, I couldn't even if I wanted to cut something, it wouldn't be Netflix. Like, they giving me a good bulk of what I want. Whereas, HBO Max is, I will say this, I put it above Disney Plus right now. And I like Marvel, but I can kind of get everything on there somewhere else. So maybe they know what they're doing. They know that people want the content. We can't go to movies right now, so they got all the movies. If you're a DC, stan like my friend right here, Mark, and your back tattoo tingling, whenever you see Batman on the screen.
It's tingling right now.
Okay. Well, all right.
I'm looking at my bat too, and it makes me think about the bat, and it makes the bat heckles on the back of my bat neck raise.
I have a question.
What's up?
In fact, I guess I want to ask a question regarding the silliness when people always ask, well, maybe DC and Marvel will merge. Considering, let's just say DC do go on a chopping block, I don't think AT&T and Warner is going to give up Batman, Wonder Woman, or Superman. Those three are going to stay there.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a possibility that any other IP from DC will possibly find its way to other places, or do you think they're just gone if this continues this way? Because we know what they're not going to get rid of. You could probably guess about 10 properties that DC ain't going to get rid of.
I could see like maybe like something like Comcast buying like the whole Dark Horse line or something like that off of them, or Vertigo. I mean, not Dark Horse, the Vertigo stuff or them or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, something that's maybe smaller, and then make their own stuff, because these movies can be made without spending $300 million. You know what I'm saying? And Comcast has Universal.
And probably be made a whole lot better too.
Yep. Get in the hands of like Legendary or, you know, Blumhouse, where, you know, a lot of Vertigo titles would probably be well suited. You know what I'm saying? So that's a possibility.
Oh, brother, you just said a mouthful, brother, because I think Blumhouse would handle some of those Vertigo properties. Like, if Blumhouse got a Sandman property, oh my God, it would Legendary. It would be great.
But isn't Legendary Warner Brothers though?
Maybe. So I might be wrong on that one.
Because I think that's why Tenet is a Warner House property, and they losing money on that. And you know, Legendary and so they kind of got that, you know, them and what's his name, director for Inception. They kind of always seem to roll with Warner. Nolan. So I think Legendary has a deal kind of with Warner, if they're not owned by Warner.
Yeah,
but they definitely lean towards Warner.
Yeah,
but Blumhouse though, they, you know, smaller studios can make it happen.
And sadly,
look at the boys.
I'm looking at the trend, and I'm still seeing like Comicsgate type cats coming out, you know, basically happy and stuff, and saying, you know, is the wokeness stop.
Wait a minute, why are Comicsgates? What are they happy about? Because a lot of them DC fans anyway.
Yeah, but they're the ones that are saying that modern wokeness, you know, destroyed it. But I got a question for you guys. Lord. I got a question. We get all this news, and strangely, a week, 2 weeks before DC Fandom? Like, isn't that strange? Like, why would you do that now, when you know you got an event coming?
I don't know. Maybe AT&T just don't give a damn. It's just like, look.
AT&T said, I don't care about your event.
Look, I don't care about your little comic books.
Oh, so y'all got comic books now. Oh, all right. Care about your event.
Okay. You want to play with your little... Okay. You want some toys? We'll put it in a Happy Meal for you. How about that? I'll get it from Walmart.
I never cared about DC Fandom. No, I'm just playing.
I don't think AT&T can give a damn about the time.
AT&T, they balling so hard, Mother lovers try to find me.
That's right.
And they good and they slimy.
AT&T ball so hard. That time don't matter for them when they do something. They owe money for a reason. They do it when they want to do it.
Like,
and they damn
it really is old money buying old money. Like, that's terrible.
That's wild, man. Like
big banks take little banks.
Warner
and little bank ain't little.
Yeah.
No. I really just think they just did not give a damn, and they just like, it's time to do it. Then they looking just only at the balance sheet and the income statement, and they look. I mean, it's you know what it is? It's August. They're getting ready for fourth quarter. Not to get all business
you're right.
talk on y'all, but you know, they working on they hustle. They not worried about us or feds or fed boys. They worried about let's get these numbers whipped into shape, close this year out, and damn 2020. That's what they thinking about.
Yeah, you're right, because straight up, this, you know, this definitely is something that reeks of, you know, let's save all the money we can for, you know, any and all shareholders. Let's circulate the money at the top, you know what I'm saying, and
get the stock up,
get the stocks up,
cut your debts,
you know, get the stock up,
and report and have a good reporting.
Yeah,
close out strong. It's simply just an accounting thing. I don't think it has nothing to do with creativity in one way or another. Not saying you can't be creative with your accounting, but it has nothing to do with DC being woke. It ain't got nothing to do with that. They probably don't even know what the word woke is. They too busy with dollar signs in their eyes to give a damn about what woke is.
Yeah, it's like,
and woke dead anyway, man. People to beat woke to death.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think about AT&T and think woke. That is literally one of the last I have when I think about AT&T.
I guess what they're trying to say is that since DC has been woke, or DC has been trying to be woke, that they lost a lot of money and now AT&T has to close them. And I'm like, nah, bruh. If that was the case, you know what I'm saying, all these companies that have done some kind of socially conscious something, whether it's just marketing or not, would be losing, you know, tons of money. And they're not. And it got nothing to do with that. It has to do with you and your insecurities around racism, sexism, whatever it is.
Amen to that. Because there's never a right or wrong time to actually want to do the right thing. There's never a wrong time to have natural good diversity, or you know, in something. And I mean, I don't even mean like natural. You know, I know people want to check mark things, you know, this and that, but you can never have enough diversity. I've had that conversation with a creator we just interviewed, even talking about the little microcon that I'm involved in. Shout out to the Mid-City Microcon, August 29th. But you know, you can never have enough of these conversations, because there's never enough for Black and brown people, women, to be involved in something. You can never have enough.
Right.
It should not be.
The crazy thing is these companies have for decades been churning out content that only reflected a portion of their base. And now, I mean, dang, it's like it makes good sense to if you have a lot of Black readers, to make Black superheroes, and Asian readers, make Asian superheroes. Like, diversity shouldn't be a bad word, and I don't. It's really like Mike said, it's your issue if you have a problem with diversity.
Yeah, it's
but the company like actually trying to expand what they look like, and to actually like I appreciate the attempt, even if they get it terribly wrong sometimes. I do still appreciate the attempt.
True that.
All I'm gonna say is that this has been a double dosing week. You know, I'm gonna keep it clean. You know, like the dudes hating on Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. You know, people who hate women involved in stuff, or hate people of color involved in stuff.
Bruh, I'm gonna tell you,
what can make
WAP is a really, really dope song. Women in Prayer. There's nothing better than that. There's nothing more pure and beautiful. And I don't understand why people have a problem with it.
Mark.
I ain't messing with you.
Mark.
I ain't messing with you. With that said, guys, we are out of here. You know what I'm saying? We are at time. Oh boy, y'all done did it.
Did I say something?
See, this is why I can't take nobody nowhere.
A word, and a whole lot of nothing at the same time, Mark.
Oh,
I have a gift for it. I have a gift, y'all. You know, some people can walk on the tight wire. Some people can speak Russian really, really well. My gift, this is what I do.
Oh, this is what you do? All
Flim
right.
flam. Nonsense.
All right, so
Whatever
Yes.
it is, this is what you do.
with
Well-
that said, before we get out of here, young brothers, Keith and Mark, tell people where they can find y'all.
You can find us at www.blerd-ish.com. That's www.blerdish.com. We sell comic books, shirts. Got a sale coming up this week. Dope merch. A lot of indie comics. So support indie comics. Comics are still there. The comic industry isn't dead. You got to know where to find the dope stuff. Like you got to find still dope hip hop. It exists. Support your local indie. Support local black comic book creators. Support black comic book creators all over. Yo, there's still people out there trying to chase their dreams. There's still people like NERDSoul and ourselves who cover them. So follow them. Support. Spend your dollars that way. And, you know, you never know. They might become the next Netflix movie. Because Netflix is out here spending.
Yep.
And I don't think they about to get bought by nobody. But,
Mike,
I don't know, man.
this was like the greatest commercial by Cupolito, the financial god. Like, I don't want to follow that. Y'all can find me in St. Louis rolling on Doves. No, not really. But you can find me. You can find me on IG Street. Oh yeah, look. I mean, it's not like you didn't have time, sir. It's not like you didn't have time.
I'm just giving a good PSA, but go ahead.
You know what? We need these things. These things are needed. Yeah. So I apologize, but I don't really. I'm Mark Dove on Instagram. Look for the cute one. Find that guy. That's me. On Twitter,
wow.
I am Space Age 3K. The K is for 3 Kangs. Kilos or something, but anyway. And I'm Mark Wallace on Facebook. Again, look for the cute one. That is me. Unless it's one that's cuter than me on Facebook, that ain't me. Then look for the moderately cute guy.
Anyway,
cut your mic off. I'm Keith Cooper on Facebook, and I run the Blerdish page, Blerd.ish on IG. You know, hit us up, drop us a DM, say a kind word, send an email. Check us out if you want to be on the pod, or if you want us to sell your book.
What up? And, of course, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, ILM places. YouTube is the main hub. Hit that thumbs up if you like what you're seeing and hearing. Hit that thumbs down if you don't. But if you don't, I'm going to send AT&T in your house, and they're going to do some layoffs there. So, hey,
man,
watch your back.
Send the AT&T accountants. AT&T accountants going to put the red mark all over your face.
Because they cutting costs.
Unfortunately.
All right? So, with that said, guys, thank you for coming through. Thank you, Blerdish, once again for your awesome, amazing talent and time.
Thank you.
And for everyone listening, watching, all that good stuff, from us to you, we're just saying peace. Yeah.
Peace, y'all. Thank you.